Hey, what's going on, team? We are back again to talk about skill development versus conditioning. So you want to get better at butterfly pull-ups, kipping pull-ups, handstand push-ups with the kip, double under, snatch, clean and jerk, hand walking skill, all this stuff. That's what we're talking about today. So many of you mentioned to me in conversation via email, on Facebook, that skill development is just practice. Kind of like Allen Iverson, it's just practice. Practice? Anyway, talking about practice, talking about the game. But you can't really to take that reference, Allen Iverson already at the professional level, it took a certain level of practice to get him to the NBA level. So, ball skills, jump shot, passing, working everything with the left hand and the right hand, crossover left to right, like all of these things. It took a significant amount of practice. Now, while practice is part of the case, right, part of the story, it's only half the story. If you practice like all these movements on your own, you can get to a certain level pretty well. I mean, you can do pretty well. You can bring your skills up from 0 to kind of hero. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can practice your double unders, you can practice the snatch, you can practice the clean, you can practice your pull-up, the handstand push-up, all this stuff on your own. But there's a reason why people don't just show up to the Olympic Games out of their garage. They do a lot of hard work each and every day, and know when it's appropriate to take rest, but they do a lot of work every day, and they have coaches, and very good coaches. All coaches are not the same, though. In coaching, like, people are decent coaches at one thing, they might not be good at something else. We talked about good coaches versus bad coaches over the weekend. That is a really clear and important distinction to make. Not everybody is the same. Not all coaches are the same. Not all of them have the same experience, the level of expertise, and that's always going to be the case. You wouldn't pay the same price for a Corvette as you would a Bugatti, right? Both pretty good cars, except for the Chevy, but both pretty good cars, but you can see the marked difference between a Bugatti and any kind of Chevrolet, whether it be a Caprice Classic, like the old school cop car, and any level of Bugatti is light years ahead of them. So the difference is, doing things on your own, you can get to a certain level, but it must be clear to you that doing things wrong doesn't inhibit your ability to do them. Something I use all the time for people is the reference of driving the car. So when you started out 15, 16 years old, you could drive the car, you could make it go and pass your driving test and all that, but you might not have been that good at it. Kind of like when you're a kid, tying your shoes was a real battle, right? You start off tying everything together, tying your shoes together, like whatever you did, but over time, like driving, over time, you get better at it. You perfect the skill of it. Now, with that being said, you're not going to, more often than not, you can see just the average everyday driver, no specialty training, no none of that. How many people you see like this on the road? Driving 40 miles an hour in the fast lane, on the phone, whether it be talking or texting, and they might be an okay driver, but that drives their ability to drive well down immediately because they're not focused on what they're doing. Right away, you can see how that good driver goes from being piss poor driver right away. I don't know how many people have been outraged by that the same way I have, but anyway, I mean, just common courtesy, man. Get in the other lane. It's okay. It's a slow lane. You're supposed to be in that lane. Driving slowly, not driving quickly in the fast lane, or slowly in the fast lane looking at your phone. But through practice, as being a just regular, normal, everyday driver, you become better and better at it. Now, I guarantee you, if you go out right now and compete in any way whatsoever, you're not going to do well in an IndyCar race. But you still, with training, could become a better and better IndyCar race car or IndyCar driver, and you're not going to do that on your own. It takes good coaching. So you have to begin to see my point here. It doesn't matter. You can do okay on your own, but remember, you're doing these things as skill practice, not in a conditioning workout. When you're doing, like today for the gym, we were doing Fran. We don't want you practicing your side, especially in the beginning. If you're a novice, any kind of athlete, we're not going to have you front squat to get better at, psoas flexibility and solid torso, solid torso, that was for you, gains, solid midline and vertical torso all the way down, basically hips as low as you can get, maintaining the vertical torso, keeping that bar in the front rack, elbows upper arm parallel to the deck, elbows forward, straight ahead, rest and relax. And then also practicing a push press in a conditioning workout. You're just going to end up greasing a messed up groove and just have that as your motor pattern, a messed up groove. In order to get better at the skills you desire, you must practice perfectly. It's also kind of like martial artists who have finally gotten to the level of black belt. To the advanced martial artists, they know that as a black belt, they're just almost roughly the same as a white belt. Their journey has really only just begun. Now the real training begins. The main takeaway here, guys, is just keep in mind, practice all you want, but if your practicing isn't helping to sharpen your skills, or you get to, like, say with a snatch, which is very technique dependent, if your numbers are hitting a wall and you don't know why, ask someone. If you go to a gym, ask them to watch your snatch technique, see if they can help you. But don't be, greedy and act like all of their time is your time, and you can just ask them an endless litany of questions and not let them do what they're there to do. Feel free to ask a couple questions, get help with what you need help with, practice that thing, have them watch it. Same thing with the pull-up. Don't perpetually do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reps when you're practicing your kip, because your kip will look like crap. Okay, your kip will be crap. So if you're trying to do that, we got to make sure your shoulders are strong enough. There's such a long line of things that go into each thing. I'm trying to keep this video relatively short and kind of the Reader's Digest version, the Cliff Notes version, but I mean, there are so many little things to discuss. Each little nuance means so much, because you might think you've got it and have to ask, but that might drive other things kind of into the ground or throw things off a little bit. So you have to try and perpetually, like a missile, like a heat-sinking missile, always correct course to make sure you're getting to where you actually want to go. So all that being said, really to improve your performance and really get good at the Olympic lifts, kipping or butterfly kipping, handstand push-ups, hand walks, double under, and the whole myriad of other things that we do, even, kettlebell swings for speed versus just doing them in a workout, kettlebell snatch, like all these things, they require a good, sound, quality coach. Get yourself a quality coach and let them help you get to where it is that you want to go. Okay? And that's it for today's Shannon Strength Question du jour. See you guys next time.